You wake inside a locked Renaissance laboratory. The furnace is still burning, the air tastes metallic, and every breath may already be part of the experiment. This is not a chamber of magic tricks. It is a dangerous borderland between belief, early science, ambition, and poison. Around you are mercury, lead, sulfur, mineral powders, boiling vessels, open flames, and one impossible dream: the philosopher's stone. To survive this room, you do not need to solve alchemy. You need to understand what can kill you first. The first threat is invisible. Before you touch a single instrument, the laboratory is already entering your lungs. Many early laboratories and workshops burned charcoal, metals, oils, and minerals in enclosed rooms where ventilation was limited at best. Every breath carries soot, metallic dust, and vapor. The longer you stay, the less this room feels like knowledge, and the more it feels like a trap. Then you see it, a silver liquid moving like something alive. Mercury, beautiful, strange, and far more dangerous than it appears. Some alchemists saw mercury as a key to transformation. But when heated, mercury can release vapors that attack the body from within. At first, the warning may be small: dizziness, weakness, trembling hands, confusion. Then the mind itself begins to slip. In this room, poison does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, breath by breath, until your body becomes part of the experiment. Mercury is only the beginning. Lead may be waiting in pigments, vessels, residues, fumes, and the tools handled every day. An alchemist might grind it, heat it, touch it, breathe it, and never fully understand the damage building inside him. The damage may not look cinematic at first: stomach pain, fatigue, headaches, memory fading slowly, almost invisibly. Then there are arsenic-bearing minerals and other toxic substances, handled in an age when danger often wore the mask of discovery. The lab is filled with materials that promise transformation, but many of them transform the person using them first. At the center of the room, the furnace becomes more than a tool. It becomes the beating heart of the danger. It keeps the experiment alive, but it can overheat glass, ignite vapors, crack vessels, and turn curiosity into impact. One wrong mixture, one sealed container, one careless flame. Suddenly, the room itself becomes the weapon. If the blast does not end the night, flying glass, boiling liquid, fire, and poison smoke may still decide whether you leave. But explosion is only one form of danger. This room was built for transformation, not for human survival. There are no masks, no gloves, no warning labels, no emergency exit plan. Only instinct, heat, and guesswork. From a distance, the tools look elegant. Up close, they are fragile, contaminated, overheated, and unpredictable. A cracked retort can leak vapor into the room. An overheated flask can turn glass into flying knives. To the alchemist, these vessels are gateways to hidden truth. To you, they are pressure chambers without warnings. Now imagine returning here every day, not for one night, but for years, breathing the same fumes in pursuit of impossible perfection. The philosopher's stone was more than a legend. It promised wealth, healing, purification, and mastery over nature itself. For some, alchemy was spiritual. For others, it was a path to royal favor, political protection, and dangerous expectation. A patron who paid for miracles expected results. Failure could mean humiliation, exile, imprisonment, or ruin. That pressure made the laboratory even more dangerous. Desperation shortens caution, and one rush decision can change everything. The true survival test is not one accident. It is a chain of small mistakes, each one making the next more likely. Spill powder near flame. Heat metal too quickly. Breathe too deeply. Touch the wrong residue. Each choice narrows the room around you. Even water is not always safety. It can crack hot glass, spread contamination, or turn a controlled reaction into chaos. To survive, you must think differently. Where's the air moving? Where's the fire spreading? What has already touched your skin? But the alchemist is not trying to escape. He is moving deeper into the danger, because that is where the answer might be. Behind a main room, smaller chambers may hold stronger fumes, stranger apparatus, and fewer ways out. This is where experiments are left to simmer overnight, where pressure builds silently, and where a survivor should never sleep. In darkness, the lab becomes harder to read. Smoke hides leaks. Shadows hide spills. Silence et danger. If you hear glass ticking in the heat, the warning may have come too late. And if the furnace breathes back at you, the air itself may ignite before you understand what changed. Heat does more than burn. It changes materials, releases fumes, and turns harmless-looking powders into threats you cannot see. In a modern lab, danger is measured and controlled. Here, danger is guessed through smell, color, heat, and pain. A bitter odor might warn you. A sharp burn in the throat might warn you. But by then, the warning is already inside your body. That is the cruel logic of this room. Knowledge often arrives only after exposure. And yet, dangerous rooms like this helped shape the early paths of chemistry, medicine, metallurgy, and experimental science. The alchemist was not only chasing fantasy. He was touching the edge of real discovery with hands that were never truly safe. That is what makes the laboratory haunting. It is a place of imagination and a place of physical consequence. Outside, the Renaissance celebrates art, architecture, anatomy, astronomy, and human genius. Inside, that same genius coughs in the dark. The city may see the alchemist as a visionary, but the room knows the cost better than anyone. Look at the walls. Soot has recorded years of failed experiments long before anyone could explain what went wrong. The ceiling is blackened by smoke. The floor is scarred by spills. The table is burned where curiosity became fire. Every mark is evidence, not of magic, but of trial, error, ambition, and exposure. Survival now depends on choosing what not to touch, what not to breathe, and what not to believe. Because alchemy was more than experiments. It was a worldview where matter, spirit, purity, and transformation were deeply connected. To transform metal was also to imagine transforming the self. But the body paid for the dream in heat, smoke, and residue. The philosopher's stone promised perfection. The laboratory offered burns, fumes, exhaustion, and uncertainty. That uncertainty kept the alchemist working after midnight, after failure, after pain, and after reason began to weaken. For you, the question is different. You're not searching for immortality. You're searching for the next breath. The safest place may be the door, but the deeper mystery keeps pulling your eyes back toward the furnace. That is how the lab survives you, by making danger look like revelation. By now, your eyes burn, your throat tightens, and the golden glow feels less like warmth and more like warning. The alchemist's world is beautiful because it is unstable. Every color, every flame, every vapor seems to promise a secret. But secrets are expensive here. They are paid for in burned skin, damaged lungs, poisoned blood, and nights that never seem to end. A Renaissance laboratory is not just a workspace. It is a sealed battlefield between human ambition and the unknown behavior of matter. The more you learn, the more the room changes. The bottles are no longer props. The smoke is no longer atmosphere. The furnace is no longer background. Everything has become active. Everything has become dangerous. And you're standing in the middle of it without protection. The door is still there. But reaching it means crossing invisible poisons, broken glass, and visible mistakes. Step 2, close to the furnace, and heat steals your balance. Step 2, close to the table, and one sleeve could catch fire. Step 2, quickly, and your foot can crush glass, still carrying residue from experiments no one fully understood. That is the true horror of the lab. No monster, no curse, no battlefield. Only ordinary materials made lethal by ignorance. And yet, if you survive long enough, you begin to understand why they stayed. Inside the smoke was a question that shaped centuries. Could nature be unlocked, purified, and remade by human hands? That question helped move Europe from medieval symbolism toward observation, experiment, and the dangerous beginnings of modern science. The tragedy is that discovery often arrived before protection, before precision, and before anyone knew how to survive the process. So the lab becomes a monument of another kind, not built from marble, but from risk, repetition, failure, and obsession. Its ruins are not columns. They are cracked flasks, burned tables, stained floors, and tools abandoned after failure. And if you're still inside, the final danger may not be the smoke, the poison, or the flame. It may be the temptation to stay one moment longer, just to see what happens next. That temptation is the alchemist's curse, believing the next experiment will finally reveal the secret. And in a room where every secret has a price, curiosity may be the deadliest substance of all. By the final hours, the laboratory feels less like a place you entered, and more like a place that has entered you. Your clothes carry smoke. Your skin carries residue. Your lungs carry the invisible memory of every experiment. Survival here is not measured only by whether you walk out. It is measured by what follows you after you leave. A burn can scar in a moment. Poison can stay silent for years. The Renaissance dreamed of mastering nature. But inside rooms like this, nature answered with heat, vapor, metal, and consequence. The alchemist may have believed he controlled the elements. In truth, he was negotiating with forces he could not yet name. Mercury was not a symbol to the body. Lead was not a metaphor. Smoke was not atmosphere. They were real enemies. That is what separates myth from survival. The legend may inspire the experiment, but the body suffers the result. If you were trapped here, bravery would not save you. Distance, patience, silence, and escape might. Do not lean over the vessels. Do not chase the glowing reaction. Do not trust the beautiful color in the flame. In this room, beauty is often the last disguised danger wears before it becomes pain. But if you reach the doorway, the world outside feels impossibly clean. Cold air hits your face. The smoke falls behind you. For the first time, survival feels possible. Yet behind that door, the furnace still glows, the vessels still cool, and the dream still waits for the next person willing to risk everything. That is the strange legacy of alchemy. It failed to make endless gold, but helped forge the questions that became science. Its methods were flawed. Its beliefs were often mystical. Its dangers were enormous. But its curiosity refused to stay still. Long before sterile labs and safety glass, discovery began in rooms like this, smoky, dangerous, ambitious, and deeply human. So, could you survive a Renaissance alchemist's deadly lab? Perhaps for one night, if you feared the room more than you trusted its wonders. But if you stayed for the stone, the gold, the elixir, or the secret of transformation, the laboratory would eventually win. Because the deadliest thing in the alchemist's lab was never only the poison. It was the belief that one more experiment was worth the cost.